There comes a moment in life when you realize something unsettling. The harder you try to control everything, the more it slips through your hands. You fight to hold on to people and they leave. You strive endlessly for success and it runs faster than you can chase. You overthink, overanalyze, overplan, and yet peace never arrives. But then, one day something changes. You stop caring. And suddenly life starts falling into place. This isn't a story about giving up. This isn't about becoming numb or indifferent. This is about a shift, a transformation that happens when you understand a simple but powerful truth. Life is not meant to be controlled. It is meant to be lived. Michel de Montaigne, the Renaissance philosopher who devoted his life to understanding human nature, discovered that true freedom begins the moment we release our obsessive grip on life. Centuries later, Albert Camus, the philosopher of the absurd, would echo this revelation, not as surrender but as liberation. Because when you stop demanding that the universe bend to your will, something unexpected happens. Your mind quiets, your heart opens, and the weight you've carried for years finally begins to lift. Today we'll dive deep into the timeless philosophies of Montaigne and Camus, two thinkers who approached life from different angles, yet discovered the same secret. When you stop caring about the wrong things, you make space for the right things to find you. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you won't just understand this idea, you'll feel it. Part 1. Michel de Montaigne's Secret to Inner Freedom. Michel de Montaigne wasn't just a philosopher. He was a man who turned his life into a laboratory for self-discovery. He asked questions most people are too afraid to confront. Why do we suffer so much? Why do we cling to illusions? Why do we exhaust ourselves chasing things that don't last? And his answer was both simple and revolutionary. We suffer because we care too much about things we cannot control. Montaigne believed that human beings live in constant tension with reality. We want certainty, but life offers none. We want permanence, but everything changes. We want security, but time eventually takes everything away. And so we resist. We fight, we panic. We build castles of expectations, and then collapse when life doesn't obey us. Montaigne once wrote, "My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened." Think about that. How many nights have you stayed awake replaying conversations, worrying about outcomes, fearing the worst, only to realize later that none of it came true? How many dreams have you destroyed? Not because life denied you, but because your own mind trapped you? Montaigne's solution was profound. Detach. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means acceptance. It means understanding that you cannot control other people, the economy, your reputation, or even the next moments you're in it, but you can control how you respond. The moment you loosen your grip, something miraculous happens. The judgments of others lose their power. The opinions of society stop suffocating you. The fear of failure stops paralyzing you. And slowly you begin to experience life as it truly is. Unpredictable, fragile, fleeting, and beautiful. Montaigne believed that wisdom begins with humility. The humility to know that you are not the center of the universe, that you don't need to force life to cooperate with your plans, that you can find peace even when chaos surrounds you. This kind of freedom isn't passive, it's active. Because when you stop wasting energy on things you cannot change, you finally have energy for the things you can. Your relationships become deeper. Your creativity expands. And happiness stops being something you chase. It becomes something you create. Part 2. Albert Camus and the Art of Living Without Control. If Montaigne teaches us peace, Albert Camus teaches us courage. Camus stared into the heart of existence and saw something terrifying.
The universe has no ultimate meaning.
No divine blueprint. No guarantee that good will be rewarded or evil punished. Life, he said, is absurd. And yet, Camus didn't despair. He didn't collapse under the weight of this revelation. Instead, he smiled. Because if life has no built-in meaning, then you are free. Free to define your own purpose. Free to create your own story. Free to stop living for society's approval and start living for yourself. Camus wrote, "In the midst of winter, I finally found there was, within me, an invincible summer. That invincible summer is your inner freedom. It's the part of you that stays unbroken, no matter how heavy life gets. But to find it, you must stop caring about everything that drags you down. Stop caring about being perfect. Stop caring about pleasing everyone. Stop caring about fitting into roles that suffocate you." Camus called this the rebellion of the soul, choosing to live authentically even when the world demands conformity. This doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities. It doesn't mean rejecting ambition. It means refusing to sacrifice your peace for someone else's approval. And here's the paradox Camus discovered. The moment you stop obsessing over controlling life, you actually gain control over yourself. The chaos outside doesn't disappear, but the chaos inside you does. And that changes everything. Camus teaches us that liberation isn't about escaping life's struggles. It's about embracing them, laughing in the face of uncertainty, walking forward not because you have guarantees, but because you choose to. And when you live this way, life stops being a battle to win. It becomes an experience to savor. Part 3. The trap of overcaring. Why you feel stuck. Why does caring too much hurt us so deeply? Because when we care excessively about things we cannot control, we give away our power. We attach our happiness to outcomes, to people, to opinions, to achievements. And when those things slip away, we collapse with them. You want someone to like you. You crave their approval. You do everything to keep them. Yet the more you chase, the further they drift. And the more they pull away, the more desperate you become. This isn't love. This is attachment. And Montaigne warns us that attachment, when uncontrolled, is the seed of endless suffering. He once said, "A man who fears suffering is already suffering from what he fears." The same is true when we overcare. The fear of losing makes us lose faster. The desperation to control makes us weaker. Albert Camus takes this further. He believed that much of our misery comes from trying to force meaning where there is none. We create rigid expectations, that life should go a certain way, that people should behave a certain way, that we deserve something from the universe. And when reality doesn't match the story in our heads, we suffer. But Camus says something radical. Stop demanding that life makes sense. Stop waiting for perfect fairness, perfect love, perfect happiness, because life was never designed to fulfill your expectations. Once you stop fighting reality, something incredible happens. You become free to experience life rather than control it. You stop overthinking, overreacting, and overanalyzing, and slowly, you find yourself breathing again. So the first step is to recognize this truth. Caring too much is not a sign of strength. It's often a sign of fear, and fear can only control you if you allow it. When you begin to let go, you don't lose control. You gain clarity, because detachment doesn't mean ignoring life. It means choosing what's worth your energy and what's not. Part 4. The philosophy of effortless living. Imagine a river. The water flows naturally, effortlessly, without resistance. It bends around rocks, it moves past obstacles, it carries itself without force. Now imagine your life. How often do you try to push against the current, forcing things to happen exactly as you want them? How often do you waste energy resisting reality, clinging to plans that are falling apart, relationships that are fading, dreams that no longer fit you? Montaigne believed that wisdom is learning how to flow with life, not against it. He taught us that the happiest people are not the ones who try to control everything, They are the ones who have learned to adapt to everything. This doesn't mean you stop working hard or stop caring about your dreams. It means you stop forcing outcomes that are beyond your reach. Camus would agree, Mom, but he adds a deeper layer. For Camus, freedom comes when you accept life's absurdity, when you stop expecting it to be fair, predictable, or logical. Instead of resisting what you cannot change, you dance with it. You make meaning despite the chaos. This is what he calls living without appeal. It means living fully in the present moment, without waiting for the universe to give you permission. Think about it. When you stop obsessing over the past, you feel lighter. When you stop fearing the future, you breathe easier. When you stop caring about other people's approval, you finally hear your own voice. This is not a philosophy of laziness. This is a philosophy of strength. Because it takes courage to step into the unknown without guarantees. It takes courage to let go of control and still choose to live authentically. Camus teaches us that we can't control the storm, but we can choose how to dance in the rain. Montaigne teaches us that we can't stop change, but we can stop resisting it. Together, they give us a roadmap for effortless living, where peace isn't something you chase, but something you create by letting go. Part 5. Reclaiming your power by choosing what matters. Here's the paradox. When you stop caring about everything, you start caring about the right things. Because detachment doesn't mean apathy. It doesn't mean giving up on life. It means focusing your energy where it matters most. Montaigne teaches us to choose battles worth fighting, instead of wasting emotional energy on gossip, on status, on the endless comparison game. You turn inward and ask, what truly brings me peace? Camus invites us to do the same, but in his own way. He asks, if life has no guaranteed meaning, what will you choose to make meaningful? This is where your true power lies, not in controlling the world, but in choosing your response to it. You cannot control whether people misunderstand you. You cannot control whether relationships end. You cannot control every twist of fate that life throws at you, but you can control what you give your attention to, where you invest your emotions, who you allow to occupy your heart and mind. When you stop pouring energy into things beyond your influence, your life becomes lighter, calmer, clearer. And paradoxically, this clarity attracts better outcomes. Why? Because people are drawn to confidence, calmness, and freedom. When you're not desperate, you make better choices. When you're not clinging, you invite connection. When you're not trying to control, opportunities naturally flow toward you. This is why the title of this video is true. When you stop caring, everything falls into place. Because letting go isn't giving up. It's stepping aside and allowing life to align in ways you couldn't force, even if you tried. Camus once wrote, freedom is nothing else but a chance to be better. And Montaigne believed that freedom begins the moment you stop letting external chaos control your inner peace. You reclaim your power when you stop obsessing over what you can't change and focus instead on what you can, your thoughts, your choices, your meaning. And that is where everything begins to fall into place. Part 6. The courage to walk away. There comes a moment when you have to make a choice.
Keep holding on.
Or finally let go. But here's the paradox Montaigne understood. Letting go doesn't make you weaker. It makes you free. We live in a culture that glorifies clinging to relationships, success, possessions, identities, and dreams, even when they no longer serve us. We think if we just try harder, fight more, prove ourselves louder, we'll finally get the life we want. But Montaigne warns us, the tighter you grip, the more life slips away. He believed that true wisdom is learning to release without resentment, to accept the seasons of life, the way nature accepts change. No tree resists when its leaves fall. No river cries when it must change its path. So why do we suffer when life asks us to evolve? Albert Camus gives us an answer. Because we are terrified of the unknown. We cling because we want certainty. We want guarantees before we leap. But Camus reminds us of a harsh truth. There are no guarantees. The universe makes no promises. And yet, Camus dares us to live fully anyway. He tells us that courage is not the absence of fear. It's choosing to act despite it. It's looking at uncertainty, smiling, and stepping forward anyway. So what happens when you stop caring about controlling every outcome? You begin to trust life's flow. You stop forcing doors that are closing and start noticing the ones quietly opening. You stop begging for people to stay who were always meant to leave. You stop drowning in the weight of expectations, and you rise. This isn't weakness. This is strength. Because it takes more power to walk away than to cling to something that no longer belongs to you. And once you master this, once you learn to let go, you'll see it clearly. Every ending is just the beginning of something new. Part 7. The Art of Inner Peace. What is the ultimate reward of letting go? Peace. Not the kind of peace that depends on perfect circumstances, but the kind of peace that exists within you, no matter what happens outside of you. Montaigne believed that inner peace begins with self-knowledge. When you understand yourself deeply, your fears, your desires, your limits, the world loses its power to control you. Criticism hurts less. Failure scares you less. Rejection wounds you less, because you finally know who you are. Camus expands on this with his idea of the absurd hero, the person who fully accepts life's chaos but chooses to live boldly anyway. He asks us to embrace the imperfection of existence, to accept that there will always be uncertainty, loss, and disappointment, and yet to choose joy in spite of it. This is the essence of freedom. To stop measuring your worth by someone else's opinion, to stop fighting battles that drain your spirit, to stop demanding that the universe bend to your will. When you stop caring about proving yourself, you find authenticity. When you stop caring about winning every argument, you find wisdom. When you stop caring about being liked by everyone, you find yourself. Camus would say that peace isn't the absence of struggle. It's the ability to smile inside the struggle. It's the quiet strength that whispers, even if life is uncertain, I will live it fully. Even if the meaning isn't given, I will create my own. This is not just philosophy. This is freedom in action. And when you embrace it, the endless noise of the world fades into silence. Ending. When you stop caring, everything falls into place. Take a deep breath. Look at where you are right now. Everything you've endured, every heartbreak, every failure, every sleepless night has brought you here. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still capable of becoming more. Montaigne teaches us to let go of what we cannot control. Camus teaches us to embrace life as it is, not as we wish it to be. And together they give us a profound gift. The freedom to stop caring about what doesn't matter and then to finally care deeply about what does. Stop caring about being perfect. Start caring about being authentic. Stop caring about chasing everyone's approval. Start caring about your inner peace. Stop caring about controlling life. Start caring about living it. Because when you stop fighting against the universe, you become one with its flow. And when you stop clinging to people, outcomes, and expectations, something magical happens. Life finally has space to breathe. Opportunities unfold. Relationships flourish. Clarity emerges. This isn't magic. This isn't coincidence. This is what happens when you release control and trust yourself enough to let life be life. Albert Camus once said, "Live to the point of tears." And Montaigne believed that true wisdom lies in learning how to die well, which really means learning how to live fully. So when you stop caring, you don't lose yourself. You find yourself. And when you find yourself, everything else finally falls into place.